Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Twisted Nerve back with another flight. Friday night flights. We're FedEx A306 7335 from Milwaukee to Indy. Um, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start with, well, first of all, I love this plane. I've flown this plane a lot since it came out on X-Plane 5 or 6 years ago, and then when they released it on Microsoft Flight Sim. It was a day went by for me. Looks great, feels great to fly. It's fun. Older Airbus, a little bit like a Boeing, a little bit like an Airbus. It's the perfect in between, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and let's get um, into our brief. Okay, so we have a lot going on, at least in the Milwaukee area. Obviously, we have this line of thunderstorms coming in, severe thunderstorm warnings all around the airfield. Um, Convective SIGMET until 1:55 Zulu. That is in about 20 minutes from now. Yeah, 20 minutes from now. We're going to we got tornadoes, hail to 1.5 inch wind gusts up to 60 knots, moving from 240. So we may be able to skirt out of here in time. We're going to kind of depart this direction and downwind departure, and then out to Indy over here, cruising about 230. So we should be okay once we're kind of out of the Milwaukee area over Chicago, but hopefully we can beat the storm out. Let's look at some other stuff. Let's look at some prog charts. Obviously, stationary fronts kind of holding that weather to the north of Milwaukee. Obviously, heavy thunderstorms here and rain expected. You can kind of see the clouds in the background building, towering cumulus. Going back over the observations over here, Milwaukee, right, 100 at 5, so it winds out of the east. So actually, we may be able to depart to the east. Another tornado warning just popped up. We may be able to depart to the east, which would be nice to keep us out over the water, away from this stuff. And then broken at 250, scattered at 2000. That pressure is low, so that's why we're going to have maybe some turbulence on the way out. That's not what I wanted to go to. So, all right, we'll see if we can get out. If we can get out of here, the end of the runway on the east side's here. We're the only one on the airfield, I think, so we should be good. All right, prog charts. Nothing really happening down in Indy, so we should be okay there. Let's go over to the all right, our valid time 00 Zulu on the 12th. That's about now. Marginal in this area with this blue is marginal VFR, so about ceiling's just under 3,000. You know, so I think we're going to be probably okay. That's 18 Zulu today, 6 Zulu, and then it's turning IFR, but we're going to be we're going to be out of there by this point. Let's look at some turbulence. We're going to be around like 240. All right. Let's go to here. All right, we got some moderate turbulence around, obviously, where the thunderstorm's out around Milwaukee, but it looks like we'll be pretty good once we get past Chicago. A little bit over Chicago at 200, so we should be over top of it, but we'll find out. So if it is, it's light. Let's turn our attention over to the airport now. Obviously, we just kind of went over this. Sea level pressure 1010, so it's a little less than standard. Towering cumulus distance south 22 and 20 over the hour, so this is pretty stable in terms of temperature. Nothing's really changing. That's why the clouds are reasonable. Looking over now at our arrival airport, 180 at 11. Kind of not terribly strong winds, but it's out of the south. We're expecting 23 left. It's standard. Altimeter setting, temperature 31. It's a little hot. Cool. Notices to airmen, 23 right, 5 left closed, which is fine. We want to land 23 left. It's near the FedEx gate anyway. Taxiway Bravo closed between Bravo 1 and Romeo. Cool. All right, I think it should be a pretty standard flight. We're not expecting anything crazy. Other than that, I think we are good there. Let's hop into it. Lights, camera, and action. Milwaukee traffic, FedEx 7335, departing runway 07 right, IFR to the south, Milwaukee. Toga. It's a pretty bad freeze. Slowly, I guess get back on center line. Slowly coming back to 100 knots. The pressure off the stick. Positive rate. Nose up a little bit. That's why we do V2 plus 20. You see that big trend vector down here, really big, really high. Keeps us safe. And about 1,000. Let's go direct to our first fix. Hit nav. Climb. To the soup we go. Above 10, climb speed 290 typically. and fly it up to probably cruise. I like flying this plane. Okay, this can come off. These can come off, that can come off. Let's go to the checklist. Get that perfectly trimmed. Alright, after takeoff, slots flaps up and retracted. Yeah, good, gears up and neutral. Packs on, altimeters are set. Packs are on, altimeters are set. Out of the thick of it now. Famous last words of miles. Alright, you know me. What's our ground speed? Ground speed's 420. That's about 7 miles a minute. 7 nautical miles a minute. Okay, so if you take, what is it? Let's see here. 160 and divide by 7. That'll be how many minutes until we get there? 160 divided by 7. 23 minutes. Okay, that's till we get, that's if we stayed at this speed. Now it's a little bit more because we're going to slow down as we descend and have to do the approach and stuff like that. So a little bit more track miles, but that's basically how you do it. Okay, so what we can do while we're waiting for the next phase of flight, let's go ahead and bring up our charts. Okay, and we can look at the arrival. Okay, on the arrival, we're at flight level 230. We're basically turning over Delhi right now. Right? Yeah, turning over Delhi. Our first fix is OP at between 16,000 and 11,000 feet. So I always like to plan for the lowest. Alright, so it's 23 minus 11 is 12. Right, so 12 times 3 is 36. So 36 miles from OP is when we start our descent. That's at a 3-degree glide slope. Okay, so sometimes you can get away with descending closer and just doing it steeper, but I like to keep things really smooth. There we go. Okay, so that's 30, so, or 36. So if you minus 36 from 116, so that's 80. Alright, so it's a little bit over 10 minutes. So if you do 80 divided by 7, 80 divided by 7. Yep, it's about 11 and a half minutes. We'll start our descent. So you can literally time that if you time it on the chronometer. Okay, but I will be right back. start preparing for our descent. 14, so about 2 minutes till top of descent. You can descend in profile mode. It's a little bit better than climbing in profile mode. I like to climb and level change, and then descend in profile, and if I need to have more fine-tuning over it, I use vertical speed for either one, but mostly descent. Okay, so if we wanted to use vertical speed, let's say we didn't have auto throttles or something like that, obviously we'd take our ground speed divided by 2 and add a 0, right? So 45 divided by 2 is 22 and a half, right? So 2,300 feet per minute, we'll say. That's about what we're shooting for. So on the Airbus A300, blue is arm, so blue path descent is what we're looking for. And before our descent, we should see it flash, and then we'll see our nose start to point down. There's a little bit of our chop, maybe light turbulence. Again, we briefed that, so we need to expect it. Yeah, this VAT radar app, it's a web app, it's from VATSIM. They've really done a good job with it. It gets better every time they update. Nobody at the field at Indy, nobody on, so we'll use all of our resources to get the info. We'll send a little steeper than 700, get ourselves back on the path. Where my pappy lights at? Oh well. Again, we should cross at 50. Fly it all the way down. Don't give up.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
Can never tell when the reversers are extended. Alright, clear the reversers at 60. Alright, flight deck over the line. Start to clean up. Strips can come off. Turn those off. Turn the dome light on. Not gonna lie, not my finest approach, but I think that's an important thing to show, right? Like you can still hand fly the approach. It's a VFR day, right? Maybe some airline SOPs wouldn't allow that, but I think in our case, it's VFR. It's at dusk. There's nobody at the airfield. Winds are reasonable, right? It's as long as you're stabilized by 1,000 feet, which we were. You can continue that approach from a Part 91 perspective, right? I know this is 121 or 135 cargo ops, but it's 121, but 121 or 135 ops, like that might not be sat, but I think in our case, we're fine. You gotta fly the approach, disconnect the automation, fly the airplane first. That's what we do, and it worked out okay. So here we are in Indianapolis. Again, kind of a dicey approach. A little bit of pilot error. Should have cut ourselves turn in sooner. Um, then we were fighting, getting, it wouldn't catch the glide slope, so we just did a visual approach in, no problem. It's a VFR approach, and we were stable by that 1,000 foot gate, right? That's the most important thing. Stable means on speed in configuration. Um, we floated a little bit on, and that's a tendency in the Airbus. The engines spool down kind of slow, so if you pull them too fast, you slam it in, and if you pull it too late, you're going to float forever. Remember, IFR approach minimum criteria is just the first third of the runway. That's by the end of the runway markings, right? You have the 3 dashes, the 2 dashes, and the 1 dashes. By the end of that, that's 3,000 feet down the runway. Most runways average 10,000 feet. So you want to know what your first third is, and that's where you're going to touch down, right? So we're within that, all within spec. Not the cleanest approach, but it works. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I'm going to continue on to Memphis if you want to join. Otherwise, have a good one. Thanks for watching.